What are you trying to accomplish and what makes you happy?
It ain't about the money. It's not about the brand. It's not about any of that. It's about, did I move the people?
Welcome back to the Final Shot Podcast. Today, the podcast is brought to you by Onnit. If you're not on it, get on it at onnit.com/TFS podcast and save 10%. If you're looking to get jacked, healthier, it doesn't matter. Earth-grown nutrients at Onnit. Check them out and use the promo code TFS podcast and save 10%. We're also brought to you by Tko Beards. I've had a beard for I don't even know how long, probably 20 years. I'm getting old now. But TKO Beards, their products are some of the best products I've ever used in my beard, so I highly recommend it. Go to tkobeards.com, put in the promo code Final Shot, and you'll save some money on your purchase. We're also brought to you by the Clinch Fight Shop. The best fight shop in Edmonton, Alberta is the Clinch Fight Shop. You go online and you make a purchase, make sure it's over $100 because you're going to get free shipping. And if you put in the promo code The Bad Guy, you're going to save 10% on your purchase. Who else we got? We got Sovereign Extracts, CBD, THC, any kind of medical marijuana needs you want, you can get them from Sovereign Extracts. They'll be on the USG Canada website. Use the promo code The Final Shot and you'll save 10% on your purchase. All right, let's get into it, guys. Today, my guest, this one's been a long time coming. I've gone through a whole bunch of other people to try to get him, but this time I just contacted him directly myself, and he said yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Eye of the Tiger top boss, Camille Estephan. Camille, how are you?
I'm very good, Tanner. Good talking to you.
Listen, you got a beard.
I got a beard. You know, I broke my ankle and I couldn't stand up and shave, so it just happened, and I kept it.
It looks great. I like it.
Thank you.
So how did you break your ankle?
Just stepping out of my own house to my own garage. I was too many things in my head, not looking, and fell about 1.5 feet right on my ankle. So it wasn't. I was in a cast and on crutches for about 7 weeks. So I had been confined by COVID and my ankle.
Holy moly! That's too bad. You're good now, though?
I'm good now. I'm walking. It's been 4 days. It feels great. The freedom, the things we take for granted. Never take our health for granted, especially walking.
I've had 2 knee surgeries, so I know what it's like not to be able to walk. And it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. You know, just being on the crutches, if I want to take my laptop to go from one room to the next, it's like, okay, how am I going to do this? You got to get a bag. And anyways, life.
So over the last few months, you've been a very, very busy individual. I actually have to give you a round of applause from me for getting boxing back in Canada. That's a tough business.
Thank you. We have to keep going. You know, there's a very difficult situation worldwide, and you have to try and keep going. If not, everything stops. So we got to keep going.
It's tough for promoters, though, to be putting on events with no fans because a lot of promotions, especially Canadian promotions, rely on the gate.
For sure. We kind of we got. You know, we were prepared, but we got lucky. We were prepared with Punching Grace. We have a network that basically pays monthly. So while as much as content is there, people are subscribing, and our fans are great. They were able to help us withstand this storm.
So you have an event coming up April 17th, which is going to be a big event.
Very big. Yeah, I'm proud of the card. Stacked, and to be able to do that in an environment where there's COVID, where it's very difficult to get fighters, I have to give it all the credit to the fighters themselves, because there's some tough fights and some fights that normally wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for COVID. So excellent card, yeah.
The first fight I'll talk to you about is going to be a fight that was supposed to happen a few months ago. It's Keane versus Stanley Cermak.
Yes, it's a fight that has been rescheduled many times, and hopefully we'll get it done this time. The heavyweights, it's always great to have a heavyweight fight. It's the division that's most exciting in boxing, in the history of boxing. So fans love it, and he's got a huge following here in Quebec and in Canada. Obviously, he fought Adam, Carmen, an Olympian that represented Canada, finished fourth in London. So we hope that we can continue in our quest for a world title shot.
It's a good fight. Is that one going to be a 10-rounder?
Yes, it's a 10-rounder. So there's two fights that are, in fact, co-main events. I would say David Lemieux is in the main event, and Simon is in the co-main, and they're both going to be showing on national TV here in Quebec, TVA Sports. So it's a treat for the fans.
So will people that have punching grace be able to watch this event too, or is it just going to be strictly on TVA Sports?
So there is basically two events in one. The undercard is going to be on Punching Grace. The main event of the undercard is going to be Steve Claggett versus Mathieu Germain, which is the second fight. The first fight was a barn burner, and it's a stacked card. We have Josh Wagner versus Artem Oganessian, probably one of our top 2 or 3 top talents. In a hell of a fight. We have Bree Howling, starting with us as a Tiger. We're excited to see her fight, and Alexandre Gaumont, who's a rookie out of Gatineau, Quebec. Tremendous power in both hands. Very exciting fighter fighting on that card. And then we have 2 guys that are locals. Always, we love local fights. Mathieu Duguay against Kenny Cherry. They call him the professor. So a hell of a card.
Josh Wagner is I seen him on the last event. He's one of Mel Lubovec Kale boxing product. What a surprise he was.
Wow. I mean, honestly, we were not that surprised. I knew he was a very good fighter. He had been off for 5 years. And Rafi Cochin took the fight. Props to him, because he knew that Wagner is a hell of a fighter. We knew it was going to be a tough fight, and it was. And Wagner, he didn't look like he had any rust on him. I mean, he was really, really on fire that night. So we're bringing him back. The fans wanted to see him back, and I got to give credit to him, because he's taken a very difficult fight. So that's what boxing should be about. We should give the best fights for the fans, and make sure that we entertain them.
Well, Mel called me on the phone, and I have a close relationship with her, and she's like, "I'm gonna put one of my guys on Camille's card." I said, "Okay, who? We got Stan going over there." I was curious. She goes, "No, a guy that hasn't fought in 5 years that's still siding to me, Josh Wagner." I was like, "Okay, he's gonna fight one of Camille's guys?" That's a tricky situation, because almost everybody on your roster is fantastic.
Thank you.
And he showed up, and he didn't look like he had taken half a second off.
Oh, he looked amazing, and you know what? We could tell as he got here. He's got a great coach. They're very well prepared. You could see that he wasn't here for a picnic. He was here to win that fight, and Rafi as well, and it gave a hell of a war. Rafi's young, he's 21 years old. He's going to learn from this. Although he lost, he probably advanced in his career just because of the experience.
Fantastic fight. And I can't wait to see Josh back in the ring again, April 17th. That'll be fun.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing him back.
Yeah, the Stan Cermak Simon Keane fight really intrigues me too, because there's a lot of moving parts that are in the Canadian heavyweight division right now. And Simon's beat a few of them and lost to a couple, so it's fun to see, because he's upper tier, and I think Stan's number 5 or number 6 in Canada.
Well, the loss that happened against Dylan, it was spectacular. The rematch was spectacular. Fans want to see a trilogy there. People talk as well now about Adam Braidwood. Adam has he wasn't at his best that night. There were, I guess he says, there were reasons for it, which obviously he's motivated to try and climb back up and get in the ring again with Simon. So it's an interesting division within Canada, but to be honest with you, worldwide, there's a lot of good fights we want to do, and we look forward, to have 2 guys that are very exciting at heavyweight, Simon Keane and Arslanbek Makhmudov, who nobody wants to fight. Nobody
No,
wants to fight him.
he's terrifying.
No, it's very, very, very difficult to find him an opponent. But we're gonna keep pushing. We want to bring him to the top, to become mandatory and fight for a world title, represent Canada in a world title fight.
Well, you got to give props to Dylan Carmen for even attempting to take that fight with Arslan Beck, because he's terrifying. He touches you and you go to sleep.
That's what happened. Dylan told me after the fight, he says, I've never been hit by anybody this hard in my life. And in fact, honestly, every single fighter that came in to fight him basically told us the same thing. So we know that we have a very talented guy. We just have to keep going up through the ranks and get to that world title.
That brings me to a fan question that came in actually for you. It had to do with Arslan Bekmambetov and the $20 million offer to Deontay Wilder. Was that a real thing, or was that just a internet ploy?
No, definitely it was a real thing, because a fight like that generates a lot more than 20. You know, we would be able to pay Wilder $20 million. We'd be able to pay Arslan Bek a great purse, have a great card, and still make a bit of money. The heavyweight division does that. You know, we could have sold this fight on every international TV there is. There have been a massive pay-per-view for us here in Quebec, in Canada, and obviously in the US. So, yeah, it was definitely something I had to try, and he didn't bite. He didn't take it.
Well, I've talked to a fair amount of people from your organization, starting with your daughter, and then I went over to Antonin Dakari. I've talked to David Lemieux on here. But my major question that I wanted to ask you is how much are you involved in the day-to-day operations of Eye of the Tiger?
To be completely frank, I have a very good team. You know, you mentioned, for example, Antonin. There's my daughter Emmanuelle. There's Virginie. There's Francois. It's a big staff. There's a punching grade staff. So I don't do much. I take credit for too much here. I don't do much, Tanner. But we decide things together, and we have a vision, and we want to. My thing that I do work at with them is the vision of the team, where we want to go, how we want to build this stable. We don't want to be just another boxing promoter selling one event at a time. Mm-hmm. We want to really do a type of a franchise where there's not only one good fighter, not two good. Maybe there's 10 fighters that are world class. So that's what we're trying to build. And have this organization be a prestigious winning organization over the long term.
Because you have a regular 9-to-5 job too, correct?
Yes, I have many jobs. I have made it. I have actually my what brought me to be able to invest is I became a stockbroker at a young age. My first real job was a stockbroker, and now that's what I do. I have an office with a few $1 billion under management for clients, and many stockbrokers that work with me. So, wow. Thank God, we're very successful. We work very hard.
So I'm guessing that gives you a little bit of leverage to be able to go and do whatever you want to during the day. If you have a press conference that you need to get done, did you have to book these things in, or can you just you can just get it?
You get the liberty. Obviously, we have when you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business. You try and make it work. I probably work as hard today as I did when I was 23 years old. I mean, I just can't sit still, and we have many different things going on. But my main thing is wealth management as a stockbroker.
I wouldn't even understand where that would begin. I'm not that smart.
You're very smart. You're very smart. It's just the system. It's discipline. It's really the thing is what's very fascinating for me, and why I love this boxing. Obviously, besides the fact that it's a passion, you manage people. I get where I'm involved in the team is with the fighters. I try to make sure they're on the right track. They're disciplined. They're motivated, and it's the same thing with a stockbroker. You look at the similarities. Life is all about values, discipline, habits, motivation, and that's what I try and instill in the young brokers that I hire, that I train. As much as I want to say that I know it all. Nobody does. So they learn from me. I learn from them. We're always trying to improve. And the same thing with the fighters. So it's all applicable in both sides of my businesses.
I've had a very fun interaction with Eye of the Tiger since the beginning. It kind of started with a internet beef between me and Manny Montreal, which was very fun. And we ended up being friends anyway at the end of it. I like Manny. He's cool. And then I got the opportunity to do some work for you guys on Punching Grace, which was a heck of a lot of fun. I got to call a fight with one of the baddest kids I've ever seen fight, Sadruddin.
Yes.
That kid's an animal.
He's born for boxing.
And then another guy that is unfortunately no longer with you guys, Artur Zadanov. I really like that kid.
Yeah, good fighters. Like you said, we have tried and gathered the best talent that we could draft, or to us it's a draft. When we wanted to sign Sadruddin, he had I think 10 or 11 offers, and he could have gone anywhere he wanted. He chose to come with us. We did the same thing with Artem Oganessian. We signed Artur Ziatinov. But as you invest in the development of these fighters, you look for certain things, and we decided to take a step back from Artur. We wish him the best of luck, but it's not an easy science. You think you have a certain talent, but it takes a lot more than just talent. It takes a mindset. It takes Sadruddin is just a natural born killer. I mean, this guy is extremely competitive. He's hungry. He's mean. You want that. I want to see guys that are hungry, that will always want to surpass. This guy could become a world champion tomorrow, and he'll still want to train harder every day. That's what I want. So that's the kind of guys that we like to keep around.
So when you look at a guy like Stephen Butler coming off of 2 losses now, I believe, what do you do with a guy like that? Do you bring him back, put him back in the gym, take 6 months off, and then get him back in the ring? He has 2 losses in a row. This loss in Mexico, I think, is just a bad day at the office. Things didn't go his way. It happens. In boxing, there's nowhere to hide. You don't have if you're a forward in hockey, you make a mistake, well, your defense buddy might save you, or the goalie might save you. But in boxing, you make one, you take the wrong shot and you're down, and that's it. So it's not the end of the world, but we have to be careful because we have to rebuild Steven's confidence. We have to. I want to take him away a little bit from the limelight. He's done so many main events for so long. Keep him away from that. Put him on the undercard in a few fights that are without too much pressure, and bring him back. I think he's going to become world champion one day, Stephen Butler. We said that about David Lemieux. When I started Eye of the Tiger, I had just started working with David. It was just prior to his fight with Alcine, and it was his second loss. And I told him, I remember we were at the Bell Center in the parking lot. I said, David, we're just going to, I'm with you like all the way. We're going to build it back. And we did, and he won the world title, and hopefully we'll win another one. But I think Stephen has the potential to do the exact same thing. I hope he does. That the fight that he, I can't remember the guy's name, but the Asian fellow that he fought for the world title.
Oh yes, Ryota.
Yeah,
Murata. Yeah,
I'm not good at pronouncing those names, but that was a tough fight.
Yes, it's a tough fight.
Very tough fight.
It was a big scene. It was thousands of people. There was maybe 200 journalists. So it was the first experience. We forget that Stephen is only 25 years old. He has 30 fights. He's been around since he was 18 and one day. So it seems like it's a hell of a long time. But he's only 25, and he learned a lot from that loss in Japan. To be honest with you right now, obviously the loss in Mexico is devastating because he felt like he lost to a guy that's not as good as him. But you got to learn from it. And now we'll see the true character, if he's going to go back to the gym and be as hungry as before.
Well, I've said it 100 times on this show. I like to see guys lose. I don't want to see them be like 20-17, but I like to see a loss or two on their record because then they know what it's like to lose. So now when they're coming into the ring, they know what it's like to lose, so they're going to fight for their life. Yeah,
definitely. And you'll see the character of the individual. You know, some people, when it gets tough, well, they disappear. And some guys, when it's tough, well, that's when they, pull their sleeves up and keep digging and dig deeper and deeper to keep that motivation. And that's what makes champions. That's why I'm so proud of David Lemieux, because people wrote him off. Said, the guy, He lost twice. His record has been ballooned by these wins against nobodies. And he became a world champion. You know, he fought in Madison Square Garden, filled up the Madison Square Garden against Golovkin, lost that night, but he's still only 32. So we're not done yet.
Another prime example of somebody that's signed with the Tigers is Steve Claggett.
Yes, absolutely. Steve, you know, I think the world of him. I think Steve didn't have a promoter that put him on the A side. He was always the B side, and didn't really get the chances that he's. I think he has some losses on his record that are not losses. And then he beat Ulysse. He fought Ulysse again. Then he fought Mathieu. And, so we saw him fight so many times, and I liked his hunger. I loved the drive of this guy. As much as I don't like our opponents, I could not hate Steve. I liked Steve. So I'm like, I got to sign this kid. I got to sign him. So that's how it happened. And I'm very proud of the fact that we did this Super 4 tournament. The guys jumped in. Never did he hesitate. He wants to be a world champion, and he's not taking any shortcuts.
So the 4 Aces tournament is an amazing tournament, and you have 4 great boxers in there. Steve Claggett fought Teru the first round. Is Teru all right? Is he going to be able to fight Ulysses?
He's all right.
Okay.
The thing is, we told the guys that the tournament will, we may have to put it on pause sometimes if the guys are hurt, and he's not going to be ready, Teru, in April. And we got to fight a fight for Ulysse. He might get an opportunity. So we'll continue with Steve and Mathieu and see when the other guys are ready. But say I get a world title shot tomorrow or we do the fight in April, we get a world title shot for Steve. Well, the tournament will wait and we'll do the world title shot. So we're doing this to keep them active. We're doing this because it was really a good time for them to do it. But our priority is to get them into world titles where they can make a lot of money and win.
And how is G-Time's mindset right now coming off of that loss to Ulysses? I know he had an ankle injury too, so hopefully he's 100% ready to go.
Yeah, his ankle is good. He's in the gym. He's very motivated. It's to him. It's a crossroads fight. He lost his last fight. He doesn't want to lose again. And the first fight was so close between Steve and Mathieu, so entertaining that I think both guys, Steve and Mathieu, are truly giving a gift to the fans, a gift to boxing, because these are the fights that make the sport exciting, that get us new fans and keep our fans. So I have to tip my hat off for both of them.
Well, I challenge anybody listening to this podcast, show me a boring Steve Claggett fight. I've never seen one.
Exactly. The thing is, not only is he not a boring fighter, he's a very interesting individual. He's well thought out. He's got a lot of wisdom, and Steve could become a huge star.
I hope so. I've been friends with Steve for I don't even know how long now. He's been on my show 50,000 times. And it's always interesting. He's always got something new to say or something new to show me. So he's a very, very smart and cerebral fighter. And to come off a loss and have to fight Steve Claggett, I do not envy G-Time in the least right now.
Yeah, that's why, both guys are real champions. You talk about Steve, and he's got a lot of depth to him as a person, as a fighter. And G-Time has a lot of guts. So I just can't wait. I'm just talking really as a fan, as a boxing fan. I cannot wait for April 17th. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Well, Camille, I unfortunately made a mistake about 3 hours before we started recording this podcast. I put a post out and I asked people to send in fan questions for you. My phone didn't stop going off for about 3 hours.
Oh, no problem. We're here. We're here together to answer the facts. Your phone, the battery. I'm worried about the battery, but we'll have to charge it.
Your phone is my Steve Claggett just made a comment. The boss man himself leading our team to world titles and bringing them home for the country. So the tip of the hat from the Dragon, which
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. I can't wait for his turn.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him do something. Dylan Carmen asked a question. I don't know if you want me to read word for word because it's rude, the way he worded it, but I'll read a word for word. When Simon knocks out whatever his name is on April 17th and I knock out Braidwood in our next go, then do I get to have my way with the teddy bear?
Sometimes, hey, Dylan, I like having Dylan on our shows. He's really a professional in the sense that he comes to try and sell the fight. He comes to make a fight. And he took Arslanbek Makhmudov where nobody wanted to get in. I mean, let me tell you, we have negotiated with 29 consecutive heavyweights, of which maybe 15 to 20 in different organizations are ranked in the top 15 in the world. And they found excuses. Dylan didn't find an excuse. So he's welcome to come fight in Quebec anytime he wants.
Would you ever consider putting him and Braidwood against each other?
Certainly, yeah, definitely. People want to see that fight. We want to give the fights, the fans the fights they want.
Yeah,
and we'll try and make that fight.
The fun thing about that fight is they both want to fight each other too. So this is something that they're kind of. Oh, I had a hand in it, but they're kind of piecing it together themselves.
You've been putting some fuel on the fire, Tanner. I hear.
I tend to do that a little bit. With the Braidwood Simon Keane fight, my fingers are definitely not clean from that one. But hey, it happened and the fight was huge.
Keep it up. Keep it up. We're not complaining.
What else do I got? I had a question about La Queen beer. Do you own that?
It's a good beer. Yes. It's a long story, but I'll make it very short.
Okay.
In the world of boxing, you have a lot of potential revenues, and for boxing promoters, we get a small piece of the pie, and the other pieces are coming from for the television, for the building, for the parking companies, where you're parking your cars, and everybody's making money, but with very little risk. So the biggest risk comes on the promoters and the fighters. So we made our own beer, we made our own TV, and we're trying to keep a bigger piece of the pie for boxing.
So the question was, you have La Queen beer. Would you also consider making La King for the ladies?
No, we're just going to stick with the Queen.
Where can people purchase this? Is this only a Quebec thing, or can we purchase it all over Canada?
Unfortunately, now it's in Quebec. It's a matter of licensing. It's a very new company. We've been on for 5 months, but it's going very, very well. We're over 400 stores already across Quebec, which is just, unimaginable. I didn't think this successful so quickly. So I touch wood. Thank God we continue to work hard. But soon across Canada.
So let's say I hit up my friend in Montreal, Manny. And I say, hey, Manny, send me a 6-pack. Can we get in trouble for that?
I don't think so, no.
Perfect.
He tried it. Manny liked it. He tried it.
I'm gonna get him to send me a 6-pack just so I can put it on the podcast and say that I tried it.
Absolutely.
Next question. What is your favorite food?
Oh, wow. I love pasta. Italian. I try not to eat it too much because especially when you're you can't walk, you can't exercise. Pasta is not that great. I can't fit into my suits very well these days, but pasta.
I love pasta too, but I'd be 450 pounds, man. I can't eat it. I'm actually really bloated right now. I live in small town Saskatchewan. Like the town I live in has 135 people, so a very tight-knit community. And we have a thing to raise money in our town. It's called Wing Night. So we get the wings donated from a butcher shop, and then it's $12 for a dozen wings and some French fries. So every time it comes around, I can feed my whole family for $36. We have a great time, watch hockey, and but I feel terrible.
No, don't. We only live once. We only live once. I just don't want to say that to my fighters having to make weight. But you and me, it's okay.
Okay. Next question. What motivates you every day to progress in the very competitive world of boxing?
What motivates me is, I started the team with Berman Stavern, who was not getting a fair shake. We became friends. We met in the gym, and it motivated me to give this guy a chance really to achieve his potential, and that's what motivates me every day. As a stockbroker, when I started, I was very young. Somebody believed in me, gave me a chance. I just wanted a chance to be able to prove what I can do, and that's what I like to have boxers, fighters with us that are trying to show the world what they can do. That's what motivates me. I hate to know that a fight of mine, one of my fighters worked for 2 months in a training camp and then the fight falls through. These things happen, but I just cannot stomach it. So we always work extremely hard to keep the fights on for them.
Amazing. Next question. What are your honest thoughts on Dana White's promotional techniques?
He has his own style, and I think they've done very well. You cannot really critique the UFC or Dana White. I mean, it's a huge business success, and good for them.
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer, right? Because he kind of built something from nothing.
For sure, the Fertitta brothers, they were so close to bankruptcy. I think it was one show away from bankruptcy. Yeah. So it's a good story. They persevered. So respect to them.
Well, this is kind of a fun question. What purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your life in the last 6 months from recent memory?
That's a good question. Let me think. I'm gonna think about this. A bone for my dog.
A bone
for my dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a Dogo Argentino.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So he was so happy with his bone that it just gave me a whole lot of pleasure. It wasn't a big investment. It was a couple of bucks, but he was so happy that that's the first thing that came to my mind.
So I had my wife used to work at a veterinary hospital, and she used to deal with 2 of those kind of dogs. And both of them were white, and both of them had a ton of health issues. One was blind, one was allergic to grass. Do you have any kind of issues with your dog like that? Because it's obviously a purebred.
No, I don't. I've been lucky. I've had a few Dogo Argentinos. This guy is perfectly healthy, and they're amazing dogs. It's a breed that's very, very impressive. They're extremely loyal to their families, protective of their families, but at the same time, extremely gentle. So quite a mix.
Next question. How has failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure of yours?
When I started as a stockbroker, I looked like a doorman. I didn't look like a stockbroker. So people would point fingers and say, they would tell the guy that hired me, why would you hire this guy? He's scary. He doesn't look like a banker. And they were really expecting me to fail. And it was very difficult. My first day, I made 326 cold calls. I got rejected 324 times. It was horrible. But these failures, every call got me closer to, every no basically got me closer to a yes. So when people said no, I was just happy that I actually spoke to somebody, say thank you, and then I'm closer to a yes. So this is the best failure. We just don't give up. And then all I wanted to do is to prove people wrong. And then I became the #1 stockbroker in Canada in a short period of time. And then they were scratching their heads like, what can we learn from this guy?
Are you still the #1 stockbroker in Canada?
I have about 100 brokers that work for me now, and we are the #1 office in Canada as a branch within what we call an IROC, which is like a stockbroker. We've been #1 for 17 years in a row.
Wow.
And every year we beat our own numbers. So I'm very proud of the fact that we're not just sitting on our laurels and saying, let's take it easy. None of that.
17-time champions.
17 years in a row and
Wow.
counting.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
Next question. What is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? Could be an investment of money, time, or energy.
Oh, definitely the best investment of my time is I'd wake up 5 in the morning. I was in the office at 7:30, left at 9 every day for 5 years nonstop. Best investment I could have made, because it gave me the freedom, gave me the independence to make sure my children get a fair shot at life, good education, and without spoiling them. My kids are not spoiled. I have 3 daughters. They work very hard, but I'm enjoying the freedom to be able to afford what they need to be good human beings.
Well, I only know one of your kids, but you should be very proud.
Thank you. I am.
Next question. What is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
When I like a movie, I like to watch it 5 to 10 times.
Oh, wow.
So that's just absurd. People don't understand, but I get so much pleasure out of something that I want to rewatch it and rewatch it.
What movie have you watched 5 or 10 times then?
The Lion King. I love The Lion King. I watched it more than 20 times.
Cartoon?
And cartoon. Actually, I saw the one they made, the recent one. It was really good. I like movies. I love movies. I'm a bit of a movie buff. So, but this is my favorite movie.
I'm a TV series guy. I like them. You ever seen the TV series Yellowstone? I feel like you'd enjoy that.
No, I didn't see it. Yeah, thanks for the tip. You know what I loved? I loved Peaky Blinders.
Then
Have you seen it on Netflix?
You'll love Yellowstone. It's a Western version kind of that.
Yeah, I'll watch it for sure.
Peaky Blinders. I haven't watched that yet. I'm going to watch it now. I just finished Vikings, which was amazing.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Peaky Blinders is very, very, very good. It's 5 series. It's a true story. World War I finishes, and some of the soldiers that go back home. You see what the struggle they went through. Some of them got into the wrong part of the world in crime, but you get to see what life was all about in those days. It's very well written, very good actors actually.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a trip to be kind of transported back in time and have to go deal. We deal with stuff like that. We live a very soft life compared to what they used to go through back in the day.
We have our own challenges, different challenges. I think today's as tough. It's just different ways. People have so much stress to deal with that things were just simpler back then, maybe easier in some ways.
Maybe I'm just bitter because people are so sensitive.
People are sensitive.
Next question. What advice would you give to a smart, driven young boxer about entering the ring? What advice should they ignore?
The most important piece of advice a boxer can get is never neglect road work. Road work is everything in boxing. In today's world, you see a lot of these experts, conditioning trainers, and I have the most respect for them, but I think they neglect that road work is massively important. So a lot of boxers don't do enough road work today, and that gives you an edge. The man that wins the fight is usually the guy that has the last bullet. So
that's very true.
Never lack bullets.
Cardio's a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you consider your mentor / hero or guiding light?
Oof. To be completely frank with you, I never idolized anyone. Growing up, I grew up in a war. I'm from Beirut, so it was just about surviving every day. You wake up and you thank God you're alive. So I didn't have a chance to really get into things where I idolize somebody. But if there's someone I can think about, it's the Rocket Richard. I love this guy's, his character. I like people that have character, just pull through. So his story left an impression upon me.
Cool.
And you know what? Actually, if there's somebody, Winston Churchill. I love Winston Churchill.
Okay. Where do you rank social media as a marketing platform? Do you have a favorite platform and why?
I think it's crucial nowadays. If you're not social media savvy, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I think Facebook is extremely effective. I think it depends on the business that you have. I think Facebook is very, very efficient.
I deal a lot on Instagram just because it's quicker.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have Instagram though, do you?
Yeah. I don't. The team does, and I know that's important. But for us, I, the Tiger, anyways, it's Facebook is a massive component of our marketing, our business, and a lot of transactions actually happen through Facebook.
Okay.
So, for example, our Punching Race memberships, ticket sales.
Getting a phone call maybe.
I'm sorry. I put it
okay.
on Do Not Disturb, but they still come through sometimes.
That's okay.
So yeah, we have a massive dependence on Facebook as a business, the boxing business for us.
Okay, you said you're from Beirut, right? Is that I don't know where the heck that is. Is that near Lebanon?
It is in Lebanon.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I'm Lebanese originally.
Then this question will make sense to you because I was confused by it. This person obviously knows you.
Okay.
So, Lebanon is known as the Paris of the Middle East. Lebanon is not always what the media shows. It is not the ground of corruption and violence. It does not wake up to the sound of bombs every morning. And most importantly, it does not suffer as much as other Arab countries do, such as Palestine, Syria, and Iraq. How often do you go back?
I've been last time 15 years ago. I haven't been often. Not because I don't want to, just life has been really busy, and every time I tend to want to go, something happens. The latest thing is COVID.
Yeah.
That but yeah, it's really a beautiful country. The people that reside in Lebanon, the Lebanese people, are extremely hospitable, very well educated, very open on the entire world, and it's just a shame that there's wars all the time in that area, because it's really beautiful. If it was peaceful, you'd want to visit it, Tanner, for sure. You'd love it.
Yeah. It's not peaceful there right now?
It's very rocky. There's the government is going through a lot of challenges. They're being challenged because they're corrupt.
Okay.
So hopefully they'll be uncorrupted soon.
I didn't know you were Lebanese. All right. You learn something every day.
There you go.
Next question. Montreal is known for its cuisine. You are a big, hearty, healthy man. Have you ever thought of getting into the restaurant business? And what is the best Lebanese cuisine in Montreal?
Never wanted to be in the restaurant business. I think that's a very tough business. I tip my hat off for people that are in that industry. It's so, just having guests where you're feeding them, it's so stressful. You want to make sure they like it. So imagine being in a restaurant. The best Lebanese food, the restaurant's called Daou. So it's Daou.
Okay.
And the best Lebanese food in North America, for sure.
This is a dicey question. I'm going to ask it anyway because I think it might be a little bit fun for me.
All right, man.
What's your relationship with Yvonne Michelle? Do you consider him an enemy?
I'm trying to be politically correct. Yvonne's done a lot for boxing in Quebec. He's been around. He's brought the sport to a certain level. We don't have the same philosophy as people, me and him, and I'll just like to keep it as such. He's in his world, we're in ours, and but he's done a lot for boxing, so props to him.
Yvonne Michelle blocked me on Instagram a couple years ago after I called him the White Don King, and or the Canadian Don King, sorry, and that was my whole interaction with him.
Yeah.
Which
no comment.
Let's see. We already went over that one. That was the next question was the $20 million Wilder deal. A lot of people wanted to know about that if it was a legit thing, because $20 million is a lot of money.
It is, but when we studied what the potential income was, it would have probably brought anywhere between $40 and $50 million. And so yes, we give him a big chunk, but he's a champion. He's got the big name. Arslanbek, everybody knows he's an amazing prospect, but he's not the star right now. So it would have been worth paying him that much, given the revenues that the fight would generate. It'd be like almost, if you think about it, it'd be like almost himself paying himself, because he'd be generating most of the revenues. So we tried to make a fair offer, but didn't work out.
Would that be something that Deontay would have had to come to Quebec to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we wanted to do the fight in Quebec.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine the building. I thought this would be a hell of a show, but maybe in the future, who knows?
That's a Bell Center kind of thing. I don't know what the biggest venue is in Quebec, but you need it.
Yeah, we have two venues that could. Actually, we have three venues that could do that fight. We have the Olympic Stadium,
okay,
which is the biggest venue. We have the Bell Center in Montreal and the Videotron Center in Quebec City. And I think it would sell out, definitely, Bell Center or Videotron Center. At the stadium, we could put 60,000 people. I don't think we could sell that many tickets for that fight.
Next question. I know who this one's coming from. This guy blocked me on Instagram because I called him out to fight. But for some reason, he still got a question in. Are you going to do the Jay Bird Adam Kung Fu Panda rematch?
Yeah, we'd like to. That was a good fight. That was a very, very good fight. But we tried actually for this upcoming show. It didn't work out. The guys were not in the gym or something like that. So, but we will do that for a fight again for sure.
Yeah, I don't like Jay Bird, so if anybody wants to put that fight on, I'm down. Guy's an idiot. In today's oversaturated channel/app/online TV with so many options available, what made you guys launch punchandgrace.com?
We launched Punching Grace, like, I think it's 5 years ago now. So it was one of the first ones out there. And the reason why, to be completely frank, is I didn't feel we were getting a fair shake always with the visibility that we were getting. We wanted to create our own channel to get the visibility, and then eventually we decided. And we do pay-per-views on it, so a lot of our fights were on pay-per-views on Punching Grace. And then we okay, let's do this as a subscription. It's time. We had to learn the business very slowly. We were neophytes in it, and then we built it properly so we can get to a point where now we could have 250,000 people simultaneously watching on it without any issues.
I like punchandgrace.com because I can go back and watch the fights. If I got to talk about somebody, I can go back and I can watch Ulysses versus Steve or Simon versus whoever he fought, DJ Khaled from 2 years ago or whatever that was, or Dylan Carmen versus Simon Keane 1 and 2. I think both of them are on there, are they not?
Yeah, there's a great library of fights. We have some classic fights. We have documentaries. We have really some interesting not only documentaries about the fighters, but about training, about different aspects of boxing and the personalities in the world of boxing. So it's really a nice, for a boxing fan, it's a treasure.
And you guys have a podcast on there now too, right?
We have a podcast on it right now with Nancy Odette, very, very good, probably one of the best journalists in boxing, to me, worldwide. So we're trying to make it as complete 360 boxing as possible. That Punching Grace.
Is there? And this is a question for me. Is there any chance of getting English subtitles?
Yes, very good question. We're happy you asked it, because now soon enough, everything that's on the site will be subtitled in English, and this is going to be soon, very soon, within the next couple of months.
Next question. Oh, this one's about me. How fun. Any chance you bring Tanner back in to do commentary?
Definitely. That worked out. Did you enjoy it, Tanner? I mean, it was good. I thought you guys were very good that night.
It was Vincent and I made history that night as the first French and English simultaneous commentary team. I had a great time. It was fun. It was tough because I had no idea what Vincent was saying.
Honestly, I watched it. I remember I was in New York. We had a show in It was with Mel KO Boxing in Edmonton, and then the next night we had a show in New York.
David Lemieux,
And
right?
I was in New York. David was fighting. Unfortunately, he didn't end up fighting. We had David fighting and Elise fighting,
Oh
but
yes.
David had an issue. We ended up in the hospital making weight.
Yeah, I watched the fight card that I commentated back. I thought it was okay. Wasn't
I
too
honestly, you did a good job. You did a very good job. We'd love to have you back.
done. You call me, I'll show up. Especially if it's in my neck of the woods. I've heard rumors of an Alberta show or maybe something like that.
We're very close. We were very close, but COVID rules and regulations. We can't wait for us to go back to the normal world. And I'd love to have our team get back out there and do a show out west in your part of the world.
I have a small fantasy that the Four Aces tournament's going to dwindle down to Steve Claggett versus Ulysses, and that fight's going to end up in Calgary. That's I don't know why, but I like that.
Hey, I love Calgary. I don't mind visiting Calgary anytime.
This is going to be the last question I'm going to ask you from fan questions, and then I have a couple more things to talk to you about, and then we'll get you the heck out of here because I've taken up enough of your time. You're a busy man.
My pleasure.
What's more cutthroat, the investment/securities field or the boxing field? What lessons have you carried over from the financial world over to boxing?
Wow, that's a really good question. In French, they say l'habit ne fait pas le moine, which means what you're wearing doesn't make you. So just because people are in suits and ties doesn't mean they're not as cutthroat as anywhere else. It's a competitive. What I can say is not really the word cutthroat, but it's competitive. It's extremely competitive, both industries. So you have to be at your best every day. Take nothing for granted, and both businesses don't forgive. You have a lot of responsibility. So both businesses are for those that want to be working hard.
I feel that everything in life you have to is a fight. So whether you're in the ring or you're in on Wall Street or you're working at the friggin' co-op grocery store or the Esso gas station, everybody's fighting for something.
Absolutely.
So yeah. I think they all kind of coincide together, and there's always somebody trying to undercut you here or talking shit about you over here. It's just one of those things. I get death threats every day. That's cool.
Look, you know what? Boxing is the closest thing to life. It's a great example. I use so many examples in on a day-to-day basis from boxers. You know, sometimes life hits you hard. You have to get back up and keep going. That's why we love boxing, because it's life.
So, coming from a corporate background, why boxing then? Do you have experience in boxing as a competitor, or just trained it, or you just love watching it?
I come from a boxing family, Tanner. My father was a boxer, amateur boxer in Lebanon. My uncle was to my dad's older brother. I boxed with my cousins between the age of 7 and 15 when I came to Canada.
Okay.
So it's in the blood. I boxed, and in fact, I got back into the business of boxing because I wanted to get back in shape. So I went to the gym and started training. And then a couple of months into it, I wanted to spar, but I chose the wrong guy to spar with. I chose Berman Stavern.
Oh, no.
Not knowing. Yes. So not knowing, what level of boxing he was. And I was very impressed. And that's how we became friends. And that's why we have Eye the Tiger today. So we have to thank Berman Stavern.
Hey, thanks, man. We appreciate it. So we'll come back to Melanie again, Melanie Lubovic, because you've teamed up with her once before. You've also cross-promoted a couple boxers. So there's obviously a chance in Eye of the Tiger and KO Boxing teaming up again to put on a co-promoted show.
Certainly. Mel is a consummate professional. She's... people underestimate how much knowledge, like she's got so much experience. The boxing world, there's a lot of little details that we kind of take for granted. You don't see them from the outside. So when we work together, it's just very efficient. It's very fluid, and we will do that for sure in the future.
Is there a chance that your daughter Emmanuel will take over your position?
Emmanuel is very involved with Punching Grace, so she's slowly, becoming in the world of TV and streaming. They call this business OTT, so it's a very massive business. I think that she'll do what she wants. I think that's a place where she's gonna excel, and it's a really big business.
Yeah, I think she'd kill it as a boxing promoter. Those are my thoughts. She's super smart.
She is, and she's part of all my businesses. Now we just she became a shareholder in a hockey team, in a Quebec Major Junior hockey team. I'm so impressed. I sometimes you talk about your kids and you don't sound objective, but if I really want to be objective, she's a very impressive human being and powerful at whatever she's interested in.
So is this a deal that was solely hers to get involved? I was going to talk to you about the hockey team next, but we'll talk about it now. This is just her thing, or are you involved in this too?
We're both involved.
Okay.
We're both involved, but she, it's amazing. You see, for me, she'll always be my little girl, right? So to see her in these environments with as partners, it's fun.
I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 16-month-old son, and I don't know what they're going to end up doing. I think my son might actually end up being a fighter. He's nuts.
Lots of energy. Look, this is our biggest pride, right? So for me, I wasn't the father that was always there on a day-to-day basis on every soccer game and every hockey game. I worked like 14 hours a day, but I'm proud of what my kids have become because they have seen me work. They have learned from, your kids will learn from you, not so much what you say, but more what you do. Mm-hmm. And you got to lead by example. So I'm fortunate that I had to work hard to lead by example.
Now, my daughter's 10 years old, and she seems to want to be like me for some reason. She has my attitude. She's very witty, and she wants to fight. She asked me if she could fight a couple weeks ago, and I was like, because she trains boxing. She loves boxing. And I was like, you know what? You're not going to figure anything else out other than that's going to tell you where you're at right now.
Hey, listen, fighting, learning how to fight is very important. Confidence, you need to make sure you know how to defend yourself. And it's not necessarily to be aggressive, just to be sometimes a lot more at peace with the world because you can take care of yourself.
I think it's a thing too where people conquer their fears too a lot when they jump into a ring or a cage or anything like that. It's terrifying.
It's about conquering oneself. It's conquering yourself, and when you do that, then you'll do what you want. You're unstoppable. You have peace, which is I think it's great that the kids are training.
Anybody who, for the kids out there, anybody who ever tells you that they're not scared to jump in a ring or a cage to fight, they're lying to you. It's terrifying. I've done it. It's terrifying. Just get in there and do work. That's all I'll say. I think those are all the questions I have for you today, Camille. But
fantastic.
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. It's I was a little nervous to do it. I'll be honest. You're a daunting figure to me. I don't know why.
We're just two people trying to do the best we can in life, Tanner. And I appreciate what you do. I think what you do is very, very important for boxing, and very important in life. I see your communication skills. I see how you expose things. So great job, man. Keep it up. Hopefully we'll be doing this, when we're both 90.
I hope so. I have way too much fun doing this. I get to stir shit up. The one thing I haven't been able to do in the last couple of years is pick a fight for myself.
Things happen for a reason in life. They'll come when they're supposed to.
I'm getting too old. I'm almost 40. So maybe we'll just be done with that. But
that's all here. That's all in your mind. You're only as old as you think you are.
That's very
so anyways,
true.
It's really been a pleasure. and hopefully we'll do this again, and hopefully we'll see you at the fights.
Yeah, hopefully. Just hang on here for a couple minutes, and I'll talk to you off the air, and then we'll get you out of here. Guys, that's the final shot.